Can y'all stop asking us to come to Africa? Underneath all of our videos, whenever we're speaking about something and speaking about what we're going through, here come y'all from Africa talking about, oh, come back to Africa. This is where you belong.
So we already know that Africans and African Americans don't get along. The hate is very evident when you hop online. But
it pains me a lot to see Black Americans and Africans, indigenous, are quarreling on the social media. We are showing the world something that they want to know. We are showing other races the thing that they want to know. Because every time they have been telling Africans or Black people are uncivilized, Black people they are not united themselves. And we ourselves, we are showing this on social medias, and people are wondering, who are these people? There's this lady, it's a Black American. She was talking something about coming back to Africa, will not come back to Africa. Let me not talk. Watch this video.
Can y'all stop asking us to come to Africa? Underneath all of our videos, whenever we're speaking about something and speaking about what we're going through, here come y'all from Africa talking about, oh, come back to Africa. This is where you belong. This is your home in Mother Africa. You don't have to deal with that. Come here. We're not leaving what we have built to come over there with y'all. Y'all don't even want to be over there with your Mother Africa. Your mother treats you so bad that you want to leave her house to come over here and freeload in our house. Your Mother Africa loves you so much and takes such good care of you that you have to abandon her to come over here and live off of us. Why in the world would we want to go somewhere where the natives don't even want to be? You don't want to be in your own continent, but you think that we want to be there after we have worked and suffered and struggled to build this great nation? You think we're going to leave and come over there? Nah, it don't work like that. The only reason why y'all want us over there is because you want what we have. You can see how powerful and great we are because you see and you watch us over there, idolizing us, worrying about what we're doing and how we're getting it done. And now you want us to come over there. But where were you while we struggled? After you sold our ancestors to the white man, how come you didn't want us to come over there then? How come your people didn't make a way to come and rescue us? But all of a sudden now, since we have overcome what you have did to us, since we had walked out of the lion's den after you cast us in, now you want us to come over there with you? Have you bumped your heads? Stay out of my comment section and stay away from us. We are not African and we're never coming there. It's Black American power forever.
Welcome back. A lot of African Americans are saying that Black people or Africans indigenous, they don't love them. And other Black people are saying that Africans or African Americans don't like them. So it's a two-way. But this is the thing that they have always wanted us to do. Because once we have all these fights, that means that the white supremacy will continue. The disunity will continue. Yes, it is true. That lady have said, we as Africans want Black Americans back to Africa because we know what of capable you are. We know how the fights you have fought and win. We know how strong you are. So if you combine your force with us, we'll get something good. I will not deny that we want that. But that does not mean that you as a Black American, you should deny your country so that we beg. Africa is your country. Africa is your motherland. Both way, I know as much as we need you, you need us too. So, as far as you are saying you don't need us, it's getting just harder between us. We need to unite. So there is some reasons why Africans, Americans, or Black Americans may say that Africans don't like them. Okay? So let's watch these videos and then we'll talk about it.
Even as a Nigerian American, they even look at me, I don't have culture. They look at me as like I am just Oyinbo. They call me Oyinbo. They call me all these terminologies because they don't look at me as being African. I'm not African to them. I'm American. That's exactly how they view me. I don't feel really, I have a hard time making friends there. I was there for 7 months. I have a hard time making friends. I have a hard time really like truly.
This is home in Nigeria.
In Nigeria, you understand? So I don't know. I feel like this is my home, but me too. I yearn for that connection. I yearn to want to go back home and connect with where I'm from and embrace my culture and everything like that. But yeah, I sometimes too, I feel like an outsider. So I can definitely relate to that. I've even gotten into like little arguments in like my Uber drivers, and they Uber drivers in Nigeria, they're so useless. I'm sorry, I had to put that out. I'm sorry. I mean, I have to say that. But they will come at me because sometimes maybe I may be talking to them and giving them direction. This is your English or your phone. Calm down. I don't understand this, your English. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm speaking normal, but my accent sometimes is too much. But I tone down. Even still, I tone down. I try to talk as if I'm from Nigeria, and still my accent is still too strong. American accent is still too strong for them. So it's like myself, I can relate to you guys as well, because I feel like trying to connect, find that sense of belonging. I yearn for that as well. But it's so hard when I'm not being embraced. I'm not feeling like I'm welcomed. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
So we already know that Africans and African Americans don't get along. The hate is very evident when you hop online. But that's the thing. When you hop online, I don't see this shit in person at all. Okay, I'm lying a little bit. There will always be somebody that's mean, but that's not what I'm talking about. My point is that the hate is strong online, but there's lots of love in person. As an African, I love African Americans. I have so many African American friends. We get along just fine. And I bet you if I asked any of them what they think of Africans, they won't have anything bad to say. We can talk about the bullying that Africans endured by African Americans in school, but that's not what I want to talk about. Just because I'm not in school anymore and I don't get bullied for being African anymore. I have learned to let that go because I decided to love myself. And I've been able to see that a lot of the African Americans that bullied me are now grown or the same age as me, and they don't think like that anymore. If you're Black and you go to any part of Africa, I bet you will be loved and welcomed. So just remember that just because there's hate and division online, it doesn't mean that it's the same thing in person. Okay, I have a question, and I am welcoming every opinion on this. I just got a DM and somebody told me, stop speaking on Black issues, you are not Black. They are right. I'm not Black. I'm African. But does that disqualify me from speaking on Black issues that also affect me? And now I'll give you a little background on me. I'm from Africa. I came to the US in 2012. Been here ever since, have never gone back to visit, nothing like that. I did all my schooling here, learned English, learned a lot of things, and I am now a citizen of the US. I still speak my first language because of my family. I am very accustomed to American life. I eat the food, I listen to the music. Almost everything about me is American. I grew up here and have spent more time here than I have in Africa. I am treated as Black in this country. I'm seen as Black. Issues that affect or are strong in the Black community also pertain to me. I'm talking about colorism, texturism, featureism, all of it. Are those issues that I'm not allowed to talk about because I'm not Black American? It is a very hard thing to talk about and understand because it's confusing. I see myself as African because that's just where I'm from. I don't know, now I just feel like I'm just saying whatever, but actually, I do want to talk about this because I feel like that's the reality of a lot of Africans that grow up here, especially the ones who aren't that close to their culture anymore. If you relate to me or have anything or opinions or whatever, feel free to comment.
I don't understand why Africans hate their own people. Just because we live in a different country doesn't make us any different than y'all. I mean, sure, our culture is different, but genetically, we're literally the same. And you want to know what's crazy? African people copy American culture and Black people want more of their culture. Really? We're literally going in separate directions, and that's what's dividing us. This stupid ignorance on both sides needs to stop. It's honestly so dumb. I can't even believe I'm ranting about it on TikTok right now. Just love everyone. Understand both sides. It's that easy. And honestly, this is something I can write about all day. If you guys are interested, follow me and let me know you want more.
Dear Black Americans, you are taught that Africans, we are savages. We are not. We are cultured. We are educated. We are knowledgeable. Unfortunately, we are poor on the surface. But beneath us, we have everything the whole world needs. They tell you this to try stop you from coming back to motherland because you are the very, very backbone that builds their economy. If you were to relocate back to Africa, you would disable them as a continent. Africa is the only place you would never be racially discriminated against. Africa is the only place where you will never have to fear if you will die the next day or not. Black Americans, you are us. We care about you. We need you as much as you need us. Your color tells you who you are and where you belong. Stop forcing yourself to fit in places you'll never fit.
To understand is that we are one. You need us more than we need you.
You need to get on out of here with all that now and keep that same energy for the people who are colonizing Africa right now. Black Americans don't come to Africa bothering you, but you fix your mouth to come to America to bother the people who fought for their liberation. They're the ones who cleared a path so you could come here in the first place. They didn't flee their country like you fled yours. Nah, we don't need you. Our legacy was built in America by our American ancestors as well.
I do have this conversation a lot with Africans or even just Caribbean people who will often look down on Black Americans. Number one, they will say they lazy, they ghetto. I've heard African parents tell their kids not to date African American men, not to marry them, things of that nature. What are some negative stereotypes y'all heard about Black Americans from your parents, from your friends?
You literally said it all.
Yeah.
That's it?
Yeah, 100%.
Right.
Like my mom would tell me not to marry an African American.
Yeah.
Right.
She says it all the time.
Even when I hear like African parents say that, it very much sounds like the same rhetoric that a white person would tell their kids. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't marry that Black guy. Like, he's ratchet, they ghetto. It's crazy to hear other Black people have that type of rhetoric towards each other.
One thing I don't like seeing on my comment section is Black Americans saying that Africans don't love them, that Africans hate them. It may be true. Maybe you have been having different experience in Africa when you visited, or the Africans who are in America or other countries, they are treating you differently. But we need to stop this, saying that Black Americans or saying that Africans, indigenous, don't love Black Americans. Of course, there's a video I did and there's a comment down there. I screenshotted. I don't know if I did it, but a comment was saying that, moreover, Africans don't love us. Okay. And there's a lot of videos I've seen Black Americans saying that Africans don't love them. As far as it's concerning Black people, I think we need to change this narrative. We need to focus on positive ways, because right now a lot of Africans in diaspora, Black Americans, Caribbeans are coming to Africa. And Africans, indigenous, are welcoming them with two hands. We love you. So don't say that Africans don't love you. Of course, I will not deny that it's not true. Personally, I love Black Americans. I love Jamaicans. The set of Africans who hate Black Americans or who hate Africans in diaspora, it's ending. And the set that we have today is the set that we love you guys. So don't say that we don't love you. It pains me to see that Africans indeed don't love Black Americans, or there's a kind of hate between these two people, Africans, Black Americans, and Caribbeans. And I have friends in America. Some of them are telling me that even if they are in a workplace, you will find that Africans, indigenous Africans, feel like they are the real deal. But for me, I think Black Americans or Africans in diaspora are the real deal. Why am I saying so? Simply because these, my brothers, they are going through a lot. Racism, racial discrimination, injustice, economic discrimination, health inequality, education inequality, but still they are going on strong. They are fighting on. So if you ask me, between Africans indigenous and Africans in diaspora, who are the real deal, I will tell you Africans, Americans, they are the real deal. Caribbeans, they are the real deal. Because these guys are away from home, far away from home, but they're making it big. Yeah. But you know, the reasons why indigenous Africans could not like, or they could hate Black Americans or Caribbeans, there are some reasons, and we cannot deny that, because the system, the white supremacy, has made it hard for Black Americans and Africans to have the unity. So each time we meet, there is a perception that have been created between us to divide us, to divide black people, because they do not want black people to have this unity. And one of the reasons why there's some hate between black Americans and Africans is historical context and different experience. African Americans and Africans have had different historical experience. African American history is deeply tied in slavery, segregation, and systematic racism in the United States. Africans, on the other hand, have their own diverse histories and experience depending on their countries of origin. Now, the shared experience of being black doesn't mean their individual histories, cultures, and struggles are identical, because black Americans were sold to America by indigenous Africa, the African chiefs. And whatever black Americans went through is not the same. The struggle African in diaspora went through is not the same of which Africans went through. It's different. Now, African Americans feel, some of them, they feel that Africans do not fully understand or appreciate the particular struggles related to the legacy of slavery. Okay? They feel like Africans don't understand that. Jim Crow law and institutional racism in America. Similarly, some Africans may view African Americans as being disconnected from the African continent and its tradition, as their identity was shaped by forced displacement and assimilation into American society. I understand that. Why some Africans may feel like black Americans are not of Africa, because Africa have this original culture. The food culture is original. Africans may feel that their culture is original, but African Americans' culture is diluted. Maybe that is one of the reasons why Africans feel like they are, we are the best. But it's so sad to see that Africans and Africans in diaspora, they don't like each other. Why can even they compare to each other? These people are the same. And the narrative was created by the white supremacy. Yeah, the narrative of hatred between African Americans and Africans indigenous was created by white supremacy to make sure that there will not be any understanding between these two communities. But in real sense, these people are one. It's just one of them has been raised in abroad, in America, in UK, and the other one has been raised in the village of America, of Africa. So we have a village boy and a town boy. So this village boy will tell this town boy that, you know what, I own this village. You can't tell me anything. Of course, you have lost your culture, you have lost your language, you have lost everything. You are using Western people language, Western people culture. Of course, I'm the best. So I think that is the reason why there's this narrative why they are saying that Africans indigenous, they don't like or they don't love African Americans. But for me, I think that is the bad thing to say, because once black person is a black person, once an African is an African, and we need to stop this narrative so that we can end the white supremacist, we can end the division that is being created between Africans and Africans in diaspora, because it is openly seen that this is a difference that is being created. Okay. Number two, why African may feel they are better than African Americans, or why African Americans, they are saying Africans don't love them, is because of cultural differences. There are often cultural differences that can create misunderstanding between African Americans and Africans. Okay. Now, African cultures vary widely from country to country, and some Africans might see African Americans as too Americanized or disconnected from their African roots. On the flip side, some African Americans might view Africans as too focused on their traditional cultures, which can create a sense of alienation. The example I've told you is about the village boy and the town boy. So the village boy here is still on his culture. The town boy, he has left the culture. He has disconnected himself from the culture. That is just an example. But the reason why there is this narrative why Africans don't like African Americans, or there is difference between Africans and African Americans, is because of cultural differences. Because the African indigenous, they hold onto their culture. But the African Americans, their culture is being diluted, and they are seeing no reason to practice some cultures from the African people. And that's where there is issues. Another thing is the stereotypes and misunderstandings. Stereotypes and misunderstandings. Now, both African Americans and Africans can harbor stereotypes about each other. For instance, African Americans might see Africans as having an elite or outsider status due to perceived advantages, such as having migrated voluntarily to the US or having different economic situation. Some African might perceive African Americans being too focused on issues of race and identity. Okay, that's true. Some feel like that. Whereas they may emphasize class, national, or ethnic issues more. This misunderstanding can lead to friction. Yeah. There's a friction between Africans and African Americans because Africans feel that African Americans are focused in the time of racism. By the way, Africans, they don't know about racism that much unless they are in an outside state. But they have not come across racism. They have not come across discrimination. So, whatever African Americans are fighting for is different of what Africans are fighting for. Africans are fighting for neocolonization to end Western influence, but African Americans, they're fighting, number one, racism. Number two, discrimination. But Africans, they don't understand this. So there might be friction because of stereotypes and misunderstanding. Number two is the immigrant experience. Number four is immigrant experience. Number five is racial identity and Pan-Africanism. When you talk about Pan-Africanism, the identity of African American is often shaped by the history of struggle and resistance against racial oppression. In contrast, many Africans, depending on where they are from, may not have strong awareness of the African experience or Pan-Africanism. The historical separation of Africa and the African diaspora due to colonialism, slavery, and the Atlantic slave trade further complicates the recognition or of the relationship, okay? Another thing is media representation, okay? The media, sometimes they are the cause of our problems. How the media perceive or portray Africans and Africans in America, they portray us as very different people, and it is bad to separate this. But that, I believe, is because of the white supremacy. They are creating this chaos between these two communities to make them feel like they are not together. Once they will not unite, and once black people are not united, white people, they get access to even better life to themselves. But once black people are united, that means that we are going somewhere. But it's the media. Media sometimes is being used to create commotion. Media is being used to divide. Okay? So Africans and African Americans are dividing themselves simply because of the influence maybe of the media. So this narrative African Americans are going out saying that Africans don't like us, is some of them is because of the media. Because most of them have not yet even visited Africa. Okay? And even most of them, maybe they have come across two or one person. And they feel that this one person represents all of Africa. It's because of misunderstanding. But at the end of the day, love is there between African and African in diaspora. Personally, I don't see reason to hate an African Americans or a Caribbean. I don't see reason. Simply because I'm in the motherland, I don't see reason. Simply because my brothers were sold to slavery, I don't see reason. Because these guys, the African Americans, are very intelligent. They have some things that we don't have because they have experienced African life and they have experienced American life. They have struggled and they are living in this struggle without any scratch because they are fighting any day. That means that they are very, very strong. African and Americans are very strong, educated. They are very strong. That's all I can say. So I wish we can end this narrative of African don't like African Americans. We need the unity of black people. Till next episode, peace be with you.